Welcome, everybody. We're so glad you're here for this month's webinar, Picture the Possibilities, Enhancing Image Descriptions with Today's Leading Screen Readers. So today's webinar is gonna last a little over an hour, and there's several points during our training today where we're gonna give you an opportunity to ask questions or comment. But just some housekeeping so all of this can be as smooth as possible. We're expecting a large turnout for today. There's over 300 people registered for this webinar, which is amazing. So if you have a question or a comment, please raise your virtual hand at any time by pressing Alt plus Y when you're in the Zoom window and you're on a PC using Zoom. Alt plus Y will raise your virtual hand. So this will make it easy for our moderator to see you at the top of the list and call on you when the time comes, when it's time for that question and answer or comment section. Also, if you're called on, you must be sure to unmute yourself before speaking. And our moderator today is the fabulous Elena. We couldn't do it without her. Thank you for being here, Elena. So again, to raise your hand, you can press Alt-Y when you're in the Zoom window. And to lower your hand when finished, you can press Alt-Y again. If you've dialed in by phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *9 to lower your hand. So it's kind of a toggle switch there. So this webinar today is brought to you by the Lighthouse for the Blind Incorporated. Our organization is headquartered in Seattle and has manufacturing facilities in Seattle, Washington, Spokane, Washington, and Summerville, South Carolina. And we make aerospace parts at all three of these locations and products for the U.S. government. We own and operate Ability One U.S. base military base supply centers up and down the West Coast. And we also provide contract closeout services for the military at locations in Alabama, Virginia, and California. So our mission, I like our mission. Our mission is to empower people who are blind, deafblind, and blind with other disabilities by creating diverse, sustainable, and meaningful employment opportunities. And we're currently hiring too. So if somebody you know or you are someone who is blind, please scope out our open positions at lhblind.org/jobs. And you'll be able to see if there's a job for you there. And Elena, if you can put that in the chat, lhblind.org/jobs. So the webinar today is one of these several exciting things that we're doing as part of some new community-based programs and services here at the Lighthouse. We're a few months into year 2 of doing this webinars. And yeah, we're super excited about where this is going. And we just want to thank you, our participants, for your support and for spreading the word about what we do. What we do is totally free to anybody who wants to be involved or to attend. And we're just so happy to be able to provide that. So stay tuned for more information, and feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you might have. And please continue to share this information with anybody you think might benefit. And just so you know, you can always email us, once again, questions at lhblind.org. One final note. Tomorrow, you're going to receive an informational email with detailed notes and relevant links on all the stuff that we cover today in the webinar. So that email is a great resource, and there's also a link to a survey in that email that we would really appreciate you completing. What you tell us matters, and we've already implemented tons of suggestions that people have made in previous surveys on content, what could be better, what they'd like to see as future webinar topics, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm going to introduce myself here now that I've done all this talking. My name is Tim Paulding, and I manage our computer training programs at all of our locations. I'm located at our Spokane location and also teach orientation and mobility there too. So I'm a certified orientation mobility specialist and a certified vision rehabilitation therapist. So I've been in the blindness rehabilitation field now for about 15 years. 10 of those have been at the Lighthouse. Ooh, 11 now. Um, I've taught both assistive technology and orientation and mobility for most of that time. I also happen to be blind. and I'll turn it over to Everett for his intro.
Hello, everybody. So my name's Everett Elam. I am a certified AT instructional specialist. Some people call it a CADIS. Some people call it a CADIS because it sounds like cat and it's fun. I am an adrenaline junkie, so you can find me oftentimes. I'm skiing or doing some salsa dancing tonight. Always trying to scare myself into being better. And my mission for myself is just to leave the world a little bit better, just a wee bit better than I found it. And I'm also looking at starting a family in the next few years. So I've been picking Tim's brain on that. At the Lighthouse, I teach iPhones, computers, and Victor Reader streams, anything that talks or buzzes or flashes, you can kind of find my hand in that. And I'm so happy to be there with Tim hosting this webinar today.
Thanks, Everett. So today I'm gonna go over some objectives with you guys. Today we are gonna demonstrate some AI powered image description services using three popular screen readers: JAWS, NVDA, non-visual desktop access, and iOS, so VoiceOver that comes with iOS on your iPhone or your iPad. We're going to provide some everyday use cases and examples on how to use these services within these screen readers. We're going to compare and contrast image description between two of these popular screen readers. And we're going to provide some insight to you guys, hopefully, on some advantages and pitfalls using AI through demonstrations of correct and incorrect use. So what works and what doesn't. So I'm going to turn it over to Everett, and he's going to talk about our first image description service.
We need to do the objectives really quick, I believe.
I just did those.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very well. I need to get my ears cleaned out. So we are going to talk about the brand new features in JAWS 2024, which just came out March 7th to the early adopter updates. JAWS is now, has been for a while able to OCR a picture or a screen and pull relevant, sometimes irrelevant data from that through a feature called Picture Smart. What Picture Smart does is it takes an OCR image, an optical character recognition image of a screen, picture, or system control, very similar to what you would do with a scanner. Okay, so you're sort of taking a virtual scanner, running it over any part of your screen, and JAWS is trying to tell you what's up. That feature I never used very much before, except for on inaccessible PDF documents and on sort of screen elements, but very rarely. This has changed now because what Freedom Scientific has done is they have incorporated Chat GPT and Google Gemini, sort of the two leading AI models. And what is possible now is pretty remarkable. So you can actually go into Picture Smart, into your early adopter updates, which we will demonstrate soon. And you can check generative AI in your early adopter updates. And what that does is that tells JAWS to, instead of using the Abby Fine Reader or whichever engine it was using to scan, it's going to use the AI Chat GPT and Google Gemini to scan a screen. People are using this to look at photos. It's really pretty remarkable. So without further ado, we're just going to demonstrate three things. First, we're going to look at how to turn on that early adopter update, because that's what you're going to want to do first if you're following along. The second thing we'll do is we'll scan some pictures. And then the third thing we'll do is we will look into how to sort of get some help, because this is going to come at you pretty quick and we want to make it as accessible for you as possible. So in a moment here, Elena is going to run the first video. And after that, we'll pause, we'll talk about it briefly, and then we'll move on to the second one. So Elena, if you would mind, run that first video, please.
This demo is going to show you how to turn on generative AI for Picture Smart with JAWS. This is going to allow us to take pictures of our screen or maybe our personal photos and have them described with ChatGPT or Google Gemini.
Full speech. JAWS Professional. To move to an item, press the arrow keys.
I'm on the JAWS Professional menu, which you can get to with JAWS key J.
Slower.
I'm just going to slow my speech down with Insert or Control Alt Page Down. I'm now going to go to the Options menu with Alt plus O.
Options menu. Basics. To move through items, press up or down arrow B.
And I'm going to select Early Adopter with the quick key E as in Echo.
Leaving menus. JAWS version 2024.2403.3. Read only edit. Enable and disable features that are still in development. We use the early adopter. Use your reading keys to read the text.
So this is a pretty cool feature. It's right in JAWS, and it allows you to see the different features that Freedom Scientific is working on. So if you're watching this video a little bit later than March 2024, you may have varying mileage, and I'm certain that eventually this is going to be something that ships with the factory version of JAWS by default. So we're just going to tab here.
MathCat checkbox check.
Those are MathCat updates, which I believe is something for math or math braille, math type maybe.
Read only at send feedback. Picture Smart.
I'm just tabbing through here, and now I'm at Picture Smart.
Picture Smart with generative AI checkbox not checked.
With generative AI. I'm going to hit space.
Checked.
I'm going to tab to OK.
Edit, read, send, feed, disable all, OK button to activate.
And when I press enter, it's going to ask me if I want to restart JAWS. So I'm going to end the video here. And the next time we will look at how to take a screenshot and scan your screen with generative AI.
So if you are following along, your JAWS will be restarting. You've got to restart JAWS before you turn on this AI or before this AI becomes active. And you want to make sure you click that OK button. I've checked something and then kind of went off and done something else. Make sure you click that OK button. JAWS will restart. And now we will look at video 2. Video 2 is going to show us some sort of pitfalls that I hit that I decided to leave in the video because none of us is perfect, right? And we're going to go ahead and scan some images. And that's going to be what's going to happen in this video. So Elena will go ahead and roll that video, please.
The map.
Now that we have turned on generative AI with Picture Smart, let's go have some fun by OCRing our screen with some pictures of spring. I'm going to Alt Tab here.
Full speech. Screen, JAWS Prophet, photos of spring, Google search, Google main
region. And I
have
photos of spring. The next thing I want to do is put my browser into full screen. If you don't have your browser in full screen, you can press F11 like I'm about to do now.
Main region list.
Sometimes you have to tab and then press F11.
Alert, press F11 to exit full screen.
This puts us into full screen, which means that none of my icons or anything on my desktop will bother our beautiful image OCR. So we're going to go ahead and press the JAWS key plus space, and we're going to do P as in people,
Picture Smart,
and then S as in Sam.
Picture Smart is in progress.
JAWS will now begin to load, and we will end up in a virtual buffer, which is going to be a text window which describes this.
The image shows a Google search results page with a collection of spring-themed photos. These images are vibrant and depict flowers in various settings.
So it only reads the top line. You've got to press the down arrow to make it read the next line.
Such as fields, close-ups of blossoms, and trees with pink flowers. Some photos include butterflies and there is a mix of landscapes. Images are attributed to various sources like Adobe Stock, Unsplash, and Pixabay. They embody the essence of spring with bright colors and natural scenery. Link more results.
So this is as good or better than most alt tags. You know, it's very detailed. It's almost like you've got someone looking over your shoulder describing things to you. I'm going to press escape here, and we're going to do JAWS key space. We're going to do P for people,
Picture Smart,
and we're going to use a bigger expanded version of the screen capture with Shift S. So we're doing Google Gemini and ChatGPT this time. We're telling Picture Smart that we want to know a little bit more, and we're going to use Shift S to do that.
Picture Smart is in progress.
So this is taking a bit to load, but at least it does give us those clicks as it does so.
Heading level 2 Gemini.
So this is a header level 2, and we're on Google Gemini. If I press H to go down to the next heading,
ChatGPT.
that's
Wrapping.
ChatGPT. And then, of course, if I press H again, it wraps back up to the top. So this is both AI engines giving us the best they can tell us about this image. I'm going to do a JAWS key down arrow to read from my cursor.
Heading level 2 Gemini. The image search results for photos of spring show a variety of images, including flowers, trees, and landscapes. The images are mostly in full color and show a variety of different springtime scenes. Some of the images are close-ups of flowers, while others show wide shots of landscapes. The images are all in a variety of different styles, and some of them are more abstract than others. Overall, the image search results for photos of spring show a variety of different ways to capture the beauty of the season. Heading level 2 ChatGPT. The image shows a search results page for photos of spring on Google. The results display an array of vibrant pictures representing the spring season. Here's a description of some of the photos visible. 1. A meadow with a mix of red, pink, blue, and white flowers under a bright blue sky dotted with white clouds. 2. An image featuring a group of butterflies flitting amongst purple flowers, with a soft focus background emphasizing spring's gentle and colorful nature. 3. A close-up of cherry blossom branches filled with pink flowers against a blurred background, showcasing the typical blooms associated with spring. 4.
So I kind of stopped it because we had a lot of beauty to wade through, which is just how life is anyway, right? But that is the OCR of spring. A couple notes. If you have your JAWS screen shade on, which is the equivalent of the screen curtain, this will obviously not work, and JAWS doesn't currently warn us to turn it off. So if you are a screen shade user, if you prefer your privacy, just make sure you do your layered key, JAWS key space, and then F11 to turn that off. The F11 key is also a key that we looked at, which puts your browser into full screen mode. It's not the same as maximizing your screen. This actually fills the entire screen with the browser. So if you imagine a Braille page on a desk and you can only read so much of that page because, well, the other side's wet or there's like, something impeding your view, the full screen is actually going to take whatever that is that's impeding it, move it away so that you can read the entire screen. Otherwise, we would have captured my desktop or Zoom. The next thing we're going to do in video 3 is we are going to look at some of the ways that JAWS helps us use the generative AI feature. And we're going to do that in this next video. So Elena, if you could go ahead and play that, please. Thank you.
If you forget any of the odd keyboard shortcuts that we talk about today for Picture Smart, there's a simple way to pull them up, and that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to do insert space and S.
Full speech.
Now I'm going to go into JAWS key space, the layer command. I'm going to press P for people.
Picture Smart.
But now I'm going to do a question mark, which is the left shift just above our control key, and the slash, which is to the left of the right shift. We hold the left shift and we do the slash.
Heading level 1. The following commands are available in the Picture Smart layer.
So we can look at the following commands are available. You can grab this out with Control A.
Heading level 1. The following.
And then Control C to copy it. You could store it in a document, or you could just remember insert space, P, and then question mark or caps lock space if you're on a laptop. Let's read some of these keyboard shortcuts. I'll do 3 and discuss what each of them does.
To get full results from all available services, add the Shift key to any of the above keystrokes.
So we did that before. Whenever we wanted full results, we used Shift and S, and that gave us both ChatGPT and Google Gemini for that lovely spring description. We're going to press down arrow.
To get full results from all available services, add the Shift key to any of the above keys.
Okay, it's repeating that.
To get full result, an image.
Oh, we're at the bottom. Okay, let me do a Control Home. So it's very important. I just broke a rule to do Control Home
Heading level
prior to reading these results, or you will end up at the bottom of the window. And I'm going to leave that because I think people should know that. Control Home will take you to the top of the window, and JAWS doesn't always put you at the top of the window. So it's a good habit to get into when you're using JAWS. We're going to press the down arrow.
Acquire and describe an image from a scanner or Freedom Scientific camera such as Pearl using the letter A.
So you could do insert space, P, A to acquire from a Pearl camera.
From Windows Explorer, you can describe any image file using the letter F.
If you have a folder full of images from a camera, you can, the cameras that use those SD cards, you could certainly drop those into a Windows Explorer window and then have Picture Smart describe them to you. And that's a lot of what this software is being used for, is simply to look at photos and screenshots.
From the computer screen or application, you can describe a control with the letter C.
So you can describe a control with the letter C. So if you want to know what that next button or that unlabeled button at work looks like, you can now do so. You can do insert space PC to read your control and to have it described. So if it's a red button with a white background, then you can tell your sighted coworker, this button that I need you to press is a red button with a white background, assuming that AI is telling the truth. So
Zoom to move to.
that is it for today, and thank you for listening.
So we're going to move now into our Q&A, and the first question, Elena, is from Misty, if you wouldn't mind reading that.
All right. So Misty asked, what does JAWS key plus P plus S give you? Gemini or ChatGPT? This wasn't clear to me.
Okay, so thank you so much, Misty, for your question. JAWS key space puts us into the layer, which makes the click sound. And then we can do a number of things from that layer. It's basically what Freedom Scientific has created because they ran out of standard hotkeys and didn't want to bog anyone down too much. So JAWS key space is that first piece. The P is for picture smart. That tells us we want to do some kind of picture. And then Shift S will give you Google Gemini and ChatGPT. The S key by itself will give you a smaller version of Google Gemini and ChatGPT. Personally, I think it should just be S because you're not having to engage an extra key, and people with fine motor will have a little bit more trouble with that Shift S piece, but that's the way it is currently. So the PS is for Picture Smart and then Screen. So you can Picture Smart a number of different things. You can Picture Smart a control, you can pick, which is like a button or something else, and you can picture smart a photo. But what we did was we picture smarted a screen just to tell us about the screen. So I hope that was clear. And I think we have another question.
We actually had a hand raised, so I'm gonna get to
Okay.
that one first.
Okay.
Mitchell, you're unmuted. If you could also unmute yourself, or Mitchell, I think you're missing an M there.
Hey guys,
Hi, how are you, Mitchell?
I'm good. I just read an email. There's a feature coming down the pipe where you can ask it questions. Just letting you guys know what we got coming down the pipe.
Yes. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but it is possible with the Be My AI, which we'll look at later. So I appreciate your comment. Yeah. Next questions. Any others?
All right. And then in the chat, somebody at D Brown asked, well, will this functionality work offline without internet connectivity?
It's a good question. So unfortunately, no, there is no onboard AI with JAWS at this time, because what it's doing is it's sending it to an external service, which is the ChatGPT or the Google Gemini. So
And this
at
is
this
Tim here. Yeah, most of any time you're interacting with with ChatGPT or Gemini, it has to send it out online. They're talking about putting onboard AIs on things, but it's not happening a lot yet. So you're often accessing the internet with AI right now.
Thank you, Tim. And do we have any more questions here?
That looks like all for now.
All right, I'm going to give it a 5-second quit, and then Tim can go ahead and start his piece. Going once, going twice. Sold. Tim's got it now.
Okay.
Let's
All
do it.
right, everybody. Well, great stuff, Everett. Thanks for just all that information about those two. So that was with JAWS, describing images. Now we're going to look at it's called AI Content Describer, and it's an add-in for NVDA. So NVDA has got a ton of cool add-ins. I don't use NVDA as my daily screen reader, but I have it installed on my machine, and I use it for some different features that it does, and I also use it as a backup. And it just seems like, because it's kind of crowdsourced and people can develop add-ins for it, it seems to be really responsive to what's going on. Like this content describer came out in, I think, late December, early January, sometime around there. And that was like, AI had been around only for as much as we'd been using it with ChatGPT. It'd only been around for 9 months or a year. So I mean, it happened that's relatively quickly for just an add-in to get developed that quickly. That fast. So this is a video of the developer demonstrating this content describer and how it works. And it's actually pretty cool. So Elena, if you could run that.
Hey everyone, I'm Cameron, and today I want to show you something that I've been working on. It's an NVDA extension to describe content on Windows using AI. And it's for blind users of NVDA Screen Reader who usually would get descriptions based on content author's addition of labels or alt text. This is different. It adds another layer of description on top of that can be requested on demand. So for example, if I go to Google's homepage and I navigate to
Google number lock, link store, link Gmail, click a graphic seasonal holidays 2023.
I navigate to the logo, which is an illustration that is described as seasonal holidays 2023. And this is maybe useful, but probably could do better.
Getting description.
So I'm requesting a description from Gemini's Vision API. And
the image is a Google logo with a holiday theme. The letters are decorated with colorful lights and ornaments. The background is white.
This is a big improvement on what the description was previously and is complete and accurate. The other interesting detail here is that in addition to describing web content, you can describe content on the desktop. Anywhere. So
getting description.
I'm describing the icon for the recycle bin. And
Mac recycle bin 1 of 10. Getting description.
And built-in label is recycle bin, but if I request an augmented description,
the image is of a recycle bin. It is a blue and green icon of a trash can with a recycling symbol on it. The recycle bin is labeled with the text recycle bin.
Okay, so I only did that to illustrate that this is not limited to web content. It's anywhere on the desktop. So for example, if you wanted to run this while playing a video game or while watching a movie, you could do that and get descriptions anywhere where you can run NVDA.
Yeah, so great demonstration of that. Right now, so the developer actually was looking at Google Gemini. I think he may have changed his add-on, because the one that I found that actually is available in the add-on store in NVDA for free at no charge uses ChatGPT 4 to recognize images. And there were just a few key commands that you used in order to activate it. So some of what I found with NVDA, so because it can be crowdsourced with these different add-ons, it can be really responsive, kind of like comparing it to an Android versus an iPhone. Like iPhones are really locked down and Apple kind of manages everything. Whereas Androids are more open. So this is kind of more open, but in that it can sometimes be a little less easy to use and configure. So in order to use this add-on, you have to go to OpenAI's homepage, sign up for a ChatGPT account, and then get what's called a secret API key, and then plug that key into this spot on NVDA in the system, in the NVDA preferences, where the add-on is. So working through that and going through some of that stuff, and then sometimes you might actually you might have to add some money to your ChatGPT 4 account. So it's a little bit more involved, but NVDA as a screen reader is 100% free. This is a free screen reader. You can download it. It works extremely well. Some people will swear by it and say it works, as well as, if not better than JAWS, which is a paid screen reader that's been around for 30 years. So there's just amazing benefits with this screen reader. Some of the configuration settings and stuff like that are a little bit more involved sometimes. Another add-in that I found for NVDA was called Ask ChatGPT. So that was another add-in where, if any of you have ever used like Research It with JAWS, I don't even know if that's still around. I think they refreshed it. I think Freedom refreshed Research It a little bit, but it's so it's kind of like that, but it's just a little window in NVDA that you can tie into your ChatGPT account with OpenAI and ask it a question. And so you don't have to go to the OpenAI website, log into ChatGPT, and use the web interface. You can use it through your NVDA screen reader, which is pretty slick, I thought. There's just tons of add-ins. So if any of you guys aren't really familiar with NVDA at all, I would download it for free, maybe make a donation. They love that. I mean, tons of people in third world countries, people from all over the world are able to use screen readers now because this NVDA has been created by these guys. But there's just tons of add-ins. All of them are free, it looks like, for the most part. And this is just one additional thing with NVDA that makes it pretty awesome. So any questions about
All right.
that?
It looks like we have one in the chat from Alice. Have you tried using either the JAWS or NVDA AI for complex images like tables, graphs, or maps?
So this is Everett.
go
I
ahead.
have not. I know that there's a lot of talk at Freedom Scientific about using this in the school systems because you have chemistry and geology and all these things that require graphics are going to be a lot less you sitting there while your friend clicks a mouse on an inaccessible lab exercise. And there's talk about that, but no, we don't know. We haven't used it on maps or graphs, and frankly, I wouldn't use it for anything like O&M or clinical related, just because it's so new. So I experiment, but yeah.
So these large language models and their ability to describe images is pretty remarkable. It's pretty phenomenal. It all depends on how well the ChatGPT or Gemini can describe a graph or something like that. One of the things that I was really impressed with, one of the first times I used one of these, I think it was ChatGPT actually on my iPhone that we'll be talking about next. But one of the first times I used one of these, I had it recognize an image of a calendar. Everett and Elena have heard this story before, but I had it recognize the image, this GIF that my daughter's school sent me of a calendar. It was just a calendar, and it was like a picture of a calendar, and I couldn't get access to it at all. And I recognized it with ChatGPT, with actually Be My AI, and I asked it some questions. List me the dates and times of the things that are happening on this calendar at my daughter's school, and it was just listed it out for me. It was amazing. So it can process images like that, which leads me to believe that it would do a great job with graphs and different things like that. But I encourage you guys to test this out. Give it a try. Check it out. All right, next question.
All right, and then we had a hand raised from Sabiha. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, and you are allowed to talk if you could also unmute yourself.
Okay, my question is regarding movies. You said that you could use it while watching a movie. How so? Do you pause the movie and have it describe a scene, or does it do audio description, ongoing?
So what I've done for YouTube videos is I press the pause button usually, and I'm coming from the JAWS side, but I press the pause on YouTube, and then I just engage the insert space or PS to grab the screen, and then I listen to this still. There are up and coming audio descriptions for videos with AI. but they do cost a lot of money, and we haven't
Mhm.
dove into them yet. So, but yeah, you're just going to be looking at stills, you know, so
Mhm.
you maybe it's every 5 seconds or every 10, which sounds super tedious, but I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool that it's possible.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So yeah, there is the JAWS key is shift and then P followed by S or PS
It's going to be
together,
JAWS key space is the first key, and then
right?
P is in people, and then Shift S to get the description from ChatGPT and Google Gemini. Does that help?
Okay, and then you do have to have the latest version of JAWS. Is that right? I probably missed the first part.
No, you're
Sorry.
fine. You have to, it's okay. You have a JAWS 2024, and then you go into options, and then you go into
Mm,
the early adopter update, and that's all going to be provided as a video and instructions in the document that you'll receive tomorrow.
okay. All righty. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you for coming. Next
And
question.
I'm not super educated about AI, but I really see that as sort of the future of I turn my phone's camera on and I point it around and it you know, some kind of large language model is describing to me what's around me in real time. That's, you know, that's in 5 years or something like that. I'm sure they'll have something like that, and I'm super excited about it. So, next question.
All right, from the chat, Ramya asked, do you provide training or walkthrough for blind students who might benefit from these resources? Will there be other opportunities like this webinar? If you do, how do they sign up?
Yeah, so the webinars right now, we actually have a workforce development webinar that's going to be coming out. Our workforce development manager, Cheryl Cummings, is part of that. And then the assistive technology webinar, we do that once a month, and that's really the only outward facing assistive technology stuff services that we provide to the community right now. In order to receive computer training from the Lighthouse for the Blind Incorporated, you actually have to be an employee at the Lighthouse for the Blind. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, and then Beth asked, how do you invoke the NVDA image content reading?
So you got to go into the NVDA menu, into Tools, and go to the add-on store and download it as an add-on. And then actually, when you pull up that add-on, there's a little button next to it in the add-on store that says Help. And it actually brings up a really helpful web page that'll walk you through how to get your API key and sign up for an OpenAI account in order to get the add-on working with NVDA. And as I mentioned, it's a little bit more involved, so it'll be maybe a project for you, but it's super exciting.
All right, and then we have another question. What is the NVDA keystroke for the content descriptor?
So the one that I remember was Control Shift I. That brought up a little, I know, NVDA Shift I, sorry. And the NVDA key, at least for me on my laptop, is the same as the JAWS key. And that brought up a little menu that allowed me to choose for the current control or the screen to be described. So it gave me a few options. What would I like described? The screen, the current control, or something else? So NVDA Shift I, but remember, you have to go in and configure this add-on first with your OpenAI account.
All right. Dawn asked, what options are available for people using an iPad 7th generation and an iPhone 13? And then Caitlin asked, does VoiceOver on the Mac have anything like this? So kind of about the Apple
Yeah.
stuff.
So Apple stuff we're going to get into next. So hopefully you'll get all that. You can use all of what we're going to talk about next on your iPad and on your iPhone. And then on the Mac, shoot.
Not aware of any
I'm
VoiceOver
not.
on the Mac, but we don't teach the Mac as much here. So that would be something that you might look at AppleVis, applevis.com, Elena, if you want to put that in the chat. That's probably where you could learn more information. Sorry, we can't help you with that. macfortheblind.com by John Panarese is another one.
It's a good one.
So we don't know.
Stumped us on that one.
Stumped us on that one.
Okay.
So,
any other questions about the NVDA?
Beth asked again, how do you make it read?
How do you make the NVDA read? So remember, you got to go in and configure it and all that. And in that help file that you'll pull up right next to the add-on, I totally did this like yesterday. So I remember that process anyway. You bring up this file and it has all your key commands in it. And it also tells you how to sign up through OpenAI and all that. And the one command that I remember using that was super helpful, it brings up a little menu, is NVDA shift and the letter I together. And that brings up this little menu where you get to tell it whether you want the control or the screen described. But again, this does not work out of the box with NVDA. There's several steps you have to go through in order to activate this.
Yep. NVDA is definitely the Android and JAWS is definitely the iPhone. So you'll
Yes.
get more crowd with NVDA, more forward thinking, fast turnaround.
Absolutely.
But with JAWS, you're going to get that stability. You're going to get the 800-444-4443 to call freedom.
Yes.
So, different business models create different things, and we need that so much in the blind community. So donate to both if you have the means.
All right, and then one last question from Wendy. I'm often in Zoom webinars with slides on the presenter's screen share. Can the slides be read this way with JAWS?
Absolutely. Do it. That is a prime example of being able to use this on the fly right away. So if you're in Zoom, you would do insert space, P, and the letter S or Shift S. And that, yeah. And then you could even grab from that virtual buffer by pressing Control A. Everett mentioned that in one of his videos, Control C, and then pasting that text somewhere. So yeah, great example of how to use this. Good applicable example.
And also, don't forget that the Picture Smart is originally meant for cameras and scanners too. So I haven't tried this yet, but theoretically, you could also get a webcam or a Pearl camera, and you could scan using that. So you could actually take a selfie or read a document, because you're changing the source from the screen to your webcam, which is also an input for your computer. So you got a lot going for it. The Picture Smart and JAWS.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to our last segment here. Probably my favorite, just because you can take it with you. I mean, I guess you can take a laptop with you with JAWS on it. But so we're now gonna look at using Be My Eyes and seeing AI to do some of the same things that we just demonstrated using JAWS and NVDA. So Be My Eyes, if any of you ever heard of that app, if you haven't, you need to download it. It first started as an app that allowed you to connect to a sighted volunteer to help you. And over the years, they have gone into a lot of other ways that you can get remote support. And one of them is they've called it Be My AI. So you can take a picture of something and it uses this same large language model, ChatGPT, to describe images. Seeing AI is an app from Microsoft. It does all kinds of stuff. If you don't have it, it's an absolute must. Seeing AI, and you can download that from the App Store. Both of these apps are 100% free. And Seeing AI recently added a feature where you can get a picture described also. So let's roll that video and we'll kind of get into what this is all about. Today we're going to use Be My Eyes and Seeing AI to give us more information about a picture or an image. So what I did is I went online and found kind of a stylized picture of the Spokane city skyline. And Spokane, Washington is where our facility is located. So the first thing I did is I went to Photos and I pulled up that screenshot that I took. I'm going to slow the speech rate down so we can all understand what's going on. And I'm going to do that with some standard VoiceOver gestures. I'm going to turn the rotor.
More content. Edit. Zoom. Headings. Speaking rate. 80%.
And I'm going to swipe down. I'm going to set it to about 55%.
55%.
All right, slow the speech rate down. So we've got an image here. I'm going to touch the screen, and we'll have kind of the onboard Apple AI kind of recognize what it is. It's very brief. It doesn't give a lot of information, but sometimes it can help. So here it is.
Screenshot. Time, 12:50 p.m. Liftable subject available. A screenshot of a music player with an image of a body of water and text. 12:50. aabulletetsy.com. Riverfront Park. Spokane, Washington.
Okay, so it recognized Apple on the onboard stuff that iOS uses. It recognized a little bit of what that image is. It is not a music player, but it did read some of the text, and that can be really helpful in sort of recognizing photos and stuff. But we're going to go quite a bit deeper. The first program we're going to use to really give us some rich information about this image is Be My Eyes, and we're going to share this image with Be My Eyes. So I'm going to find the share button.
Toolbar, favorite, info, delete, favorite, share, button.
And I'm going to double tap it.
One photo selected.
Okay, then we're going to go all the way down to the bottom here and find that button that says share with Be My Eyes.
Page 3 of 3. Describe with access.
And unfortunately, on my phone here, these describe buttons with Be My Eyes and Seeing AI are all the way down at the bottom.
Describe with Be My Eyes button.
There it is. Okay, I found it. I'm going to double tap. It's going to take us right into that app, and it's going to start describing the image to us.
Describe. Cancel button. Please wait. Be My AI is writing. Please wait. Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI. The image is a stylized travel poster for Riverfront Park in Spokane, Washington. It features a vibrant illustration of the park with the river running through it. The river is a bright turquoise color, and there are two large rocks in the water. The background shows a cityscape with buildings and trees, and a distinctive white structure that resembles a pavilion or tent with a complex geometric pattern. There's also a red roof tower visible among the buildings. In the foreground, there's a person wearing a red top and blue pants, standing on the riverbank, looking out at the water. They appear to be holding something, possibly a camera or binoculars. The bottom of the poster has large, bold text that reads Spokane, Washington with a tagline that says this summer, visit, ellipsis. The colors are mostly green, blue, and earth tones, giving the poster a natural and inviting feel.
Tons of cool information there. One of the things that I really like doing with Be My Eyes is I can ask the AI further questions about this image. So we're going to do that. I'm going to find the text box.
Be My AI, the message, text field.
I'm going to double tap.
Insertion point at end. Message.
And
text
I want to
field.
know a little more information about the tower. The red tower, I think. So I use two-finger double tap to dictate into that text box and ask it a question. And now we're going to press send. Ooh.
So
Shoot, I think somehow we lost the audio for the AI description.
So usually in that text field, when you're you can ask something, and I think that's what Tim was doing, but when you double tap with two fingers, the voiceover kind of cuts out, and that's a mistake that I make all the time.
That is so cool that AI used some of its brains to get even more information about
we
what
might
was
want to
going
turn off the video
in that photo. Very awesome.
So maybe Tim, if you want to explain it so we don't get overlapped.
Yeah. So what happened was that with Be My Eyes, I went in there and had it recognize the photo, and it gave us tons of cool, rich information. And then I asked Be My Eyes another question by going into the text box right there, asking it a question. I asked to tell me a little bit more about the red tower in the video, and then it gave me some more information about that was really cool. So actually the rest of that video I think might have not been great because the voiceover cut out for the rest of it. So for the rest of that video, here's what we did, and I'll just kind of describe it to you guys. And it's actually really cool. So Seeing AI, which is that that app from Microsoft that has all kinds of different channels that allows you to recognize text, take a picture of a document. You can recognize products. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. So they recently added a feature to Seeing AI that allows you to use one of Chat GPT. I think it's Chat GPT. They might be using Microsoft Copilot. It is using some sort of large language model to describe images. So what I did was the very, very same process. I pulled up that picture. You can go into your, well, I went online and I found a picture that I want to describe, and I took a screenshot. And you can do that by holding down your side button and your up volume. Took a screenshot. So then I went into my photos, I found that screenshot, and then I went to that share button, if you guys remember what I was doing in that first video. And so the second time around, we go to the share button, and I chose to recognize with Seeing AI. So then Seeing AI launched, and then it gives this really brief description of the photo, and you find a more info button, and Seeing AI will recognize that again. And I thought it was so interesting and similar with the video that wherever it demonstrated Gemini versus Chat GPT, their descriptions were slightly different, right? They took kind of a different angle. So when Seeing AI recognized that same image, it described the river in the photo, how there were rocks in the river, and there was actually supposedly another person in the river in that photo that the first image description didn't generate. So you could actually use both and kind of cram them together and get the most information that you can. So
kind of an AI and the elephant thing. One sees one and one sees the other.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that kind of gives you guys an idea of what you can do with this image recognition technology on the iPhone or iPad using VoiceOver. Make sure you install those two apps. They're totally free. Be My Eyes and Seeing AI. Find a photo in your photo library. I've actually done this before. I've just gone through my photos, and yes, the iPhone, the built-in AI stuff on the iPhone will give you a very, very brief description of what the photo is, and then you can just say share. You can share it to Be My Eyes, or you can share it to you can share it to Seeing AI.
Cool.
I honestly want to say that I prefer sharing with Be My Eyes because I can ask it follow-up questions, and I think that's a game changer, because sometimes the AI will focus on maybe something I'm not as interested in. Maybe I really wanted to know about that red tower in that photo because I'm doing a project on it or something. So yeah, do you guys?
It calls to you.
Yes, it does. It does. So how about questions about that?
We got tons. Thank you guys so
good.
much.
All right. Wendy asked, I've used this with menus and CD listings and would like to save the information. Is there a way to save the image descriptions?
Menus and CD listings. Yes. So if you're using actually either one of those apps, you can touch on the description, and you can actually do this command that copies the last thing that VoiceOver said. That is a 3-finger quadruple tap. So 3 fingers, tap, 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 and it'll repeat what it just said. And after that, it'll say copied to clipboard, and then go into your notes or wherever you want to paste this. You can use the rotor to edit, swipe up, and then you can paste that description. That's a quick way. Seeing AI may actually have some more features with that, but I use that 3-finger quadruple tap all the time to copy the last thing that VoiceOver said. And you can do that anywhere and then paste it.
All right. And then Judy asked, is there a way to have a photo described from Facebook?
Yeah. What would you do, Everett? I would take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, if you make sure your screen curtain's off, same rule applies
Yes.
with a 3-finger triple tap. And then you're going to do like Tim says, you're going to take your lock button and your volume up button and push them together. You'll get a camera sound effect and a 5-second pause while iPhone processes the screenshot. Then you go to that, say share, and then you would share that to the Seeing AI or the Be My AI. With JAWS, you're going to go to your Facebook feed. Ooh, scary, Windows Facebook feeds. But if you
Oof.
want to do it that way, you're going to do that and press F11 for full screen. Click on the photo that you're trying to get as close to the photo as you can. If you can open it, that'd be good because then you'll get a full screen photo. And then you'll do caps lock space P and then Shift S for screen. If it's a JPEG, you can do, excuse me, if it's a picture that you have as a file, you can actually put it into the directory that JAWS uses for Picture Smart. But with the way we're doing it, which I think is the simplest way and most accessible, easiest, we just capture the screen. But it's a big tool, so you can do other things with it. So hopefully that sheds some light on it. If it didn't, you can always email questions@lhblind.org.
Yeah.
All right.
With your questions.
We have a few anecdotes here, and then another question from Alice. When I open Be My Eyes, it asks if I want to volunteer or if I'm just a user. Is there a way to just use the app?
You want to say you're a user. You might have to, gosh, it's been so long since I signed up for it, but you might have to enter your email address or something like that. But you say you're a user, you don't want to be a volunteer. Once you say you're a user, it should walk you through the next few steps. I think they've done a really good job of making it pretty quick and simple to get signed up for. Everett, do you remember anything about that?
As far, yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not fun, but it's not super bad.
Okay.
So. Been a minute.
Other questions?
Rachel asked, tried this now with JAWS during this Zoom meeting. So cool. Do you see a future with OCR with Chromevox on Chromebook?
With OCR or this image recognition that we're talking about?
So like the Picture Smart, where you can capture the screen and have it described, I think that this is going to be how we use a computer in 5 years. We're going to be moving away from Alt Tab and Alt F4 and into sort of where computers are our sighted guides, our personal assistants. You know, it's going to be a much easier process for using a computer, which is kind of scary because right now there is some skill to it, I think. But as we get more and more accessible, you have that curve of more and more people can do it. And the internet offers such a big amplification of voice that it's a lot to think about. You know, if the mailman has access to a computer, you know, what's he going to do on his off time? You know, the guy who delivers your mail probably doesn't use the computer a lot because, you know, but what is he doing whenever he's, you know, he's got his phone and he's off the clock? You know, it's like what's happening? So it's going to be more and more easy for people who do skilled trades and people who do different things to sort of jump in.
Yep.
Sorry, the mailman example was a little unclear. Sorry about that. Any other questions?
Yes, access to a greater, larger number and variety of people.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a class yesterday where, you know, Google Translate was helping me to translate what someone was telling me in Spanish to English, and then I could speak English, and the phone was on the fly translating it to them, you know, in their language. So it's here and it's getting bigger and bigger. So hopefully that answers Rachel's question. Any more questions? So again, right now, as it stands, this is the early adopter update that we're talking about. It is not in your mainstream versions of JAWS unless you enable that early adopter update. If you want to do that, you do Insert J for the JAWS menu, you then do Alt O, and then you do E to get into the early adopter. You've got to tab to that checkbox space and then make sure you hit that OK button. If your JAWS doesn't restart, then you've made a bit of a mistake. So we would have to retry that. So hopefully that's a good reminder. We've had several questions about that.
Yep. And if you have an iOS device, download Be My Eyes and Seeing AI for free from the App Store. There'll be App Store links in the email that you guys receive. And just another reminder, you'll be receiving an email. Actually, if you're on a PC right now, when you close this browser window, our survey will pop up. So if you can
How
just
about
take,
that?
5 minutes, 4 minutes to fill out that survey, that would be really helpful. And it will also be coming in the email that you'll receive automatically in 24 hours with the links to the items that we talked about today and our YouTube page and all kinds of other stuff along with the survey links. So if you guys would take that, then that'd be awesome. And please join us again for our next webinar on something interesting next month.
Yeah, we've got a lot coming down the pike. We've got a smart toothbrush we're thinking about doing one on. We've got some more AI coming down the pike. We say AI and everybody's just like AI.
Oh yeah,
So
they're loving it.
and no request is too small. If you want to see something where we dive deeper into AI and birth the midnight oil, learning more about AI, you're more than welcome to email that to questions@lhblind.org or using our survey that's going to pop up. When did you say that was going to pop up again?
Well,
after.
right away if they if they close the browser window right away. Pop up.
Pop goes the survey.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thanks everybody. We'll see you
thank
guys next
you.
time.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.